Hi, this is Ryan with Video Conference Gear. Today I'm with Daniel Clayman, who is a Systems and Applications Engineer for Yamaha Unified Communications. Today he's going to go over the Yamaha Adecia line with us. So Daniel, welcome, and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much, Ryan. I'm glad to be here.
No problem. So help me understand a little bit, what is the Adecia platform and kind of what is the benefits to the users out there?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that you're very close to pronouncing it correctly.
Okay.
So the way that I remember how to pronounce Adecia is with decibel, the word decibel. And
Okay.
so it reminds me that that is how we pronounce Adecia. And yes, I think we made that word up. So Adecia really is kind of a new way to do integrated audio for video conferencing. And so at the heart of it, we have a kind of a magic box, and that's called the RMCR. And what that allows you to do is configure rooms like a programmer would or a DSP engineer would, but in a plug and play environment that only requires category cables plugged into each family member that belongs to it.
Interesting. So we're kind of moving to the next generation of audio systems. That's a true
Yes.
IP-based solution to run, where we have network devices running power over Ethernet or PoE plus.
That's right.
Okay.
And inside that magic box, we also have some analog in and outs for people that are still struggling with that.
Okay.
And then just 3 network ports so that you can do different things like point it to call managers or do remote management to it. And then, of course, speak audio over networks.
Okay, good. So as we look at, it's a newer style of how we're doing audio processing within the conference room.
Yes.
What makes Adecia, I think I said that right, stand out from the pack, from simplicity and ease of use or other features and functions why is this right for mass deployments?
So there are several algorithms that Yamaha owns patents on in a variety of our product line. And one of them is called human voice activity detection. So that algorithm can detect when a human is speaking in any environment that a microphone is listening to. So it can differentiate between human speech pattern and the audio frequency response of the human voice, and then background noise like that. Did you hear that?
Yep.
That's a turbo fan that's running right next to me that I just hit my finger on. Right? So what the algorithm does there is it differentiates between those noises and then rejects steady state noise. So that's one part of it. The second part really comes from our home theater group. So I don't know if any of you listeners out there, viewers, have had a Yamaha home theater system, but they give you a microphone and then you sit in your Barca lounger and it tunes the room for that experience. We're doing the same thing for the conferencing environment.
Interesting. So as one use case I've had with numerous clients or a few different clients, right there in downtown Manhattan, there's a large amount of outside noise from sirens going by constantly. When it's installed in these rooms, does that filter out that background noise?
It will, and it will reject that noise from the outside. It would have to be really, really like a fire alarm, I think, inside of the room for it to actually pick something up like that.
Interesting. So we're able to just focus on the speech and conversation in the call.
And that's it. And that's how they dynamically switch. There's 4 beams at any one time in the ceiling, just the ceiling solution itself. Of course, anytime you have a microphone close to your mouth, that's better. And so, goosenecks or wearable, when it's right here, is going to reject a lot of that noise. But Yamaha's gone a long way into doing that for environments and its ceiling mics and boundary mics as well.
Okay. So there's a few different Adecia kits and systems, right? And we can buy these in different ways. Do you want to walk me through the different types of systems and options available?
Absolutely. So what Adecia really is it's a family of products. And at the heart of it is the RMCR. That's the magic box that I was talking about there on the bottom right. That does Dante configuration. That has a 16 by 16 Dante backbone in it. And it automatically configures any family member that's in there, whether it's speakers for our output or microphones for the input. And then it has in and output, inputs and outputs so that you can easily integrate with anything in a conference environment, whether that's like the XLR on the front of it that you can see or analog on the back. And then, of course, the microphones are over network. So that's digital. So in those those classes of family, we have the ceiling style, which is an RMCG. We have the RMTT, which is a boundary mic style, and is one of them that I am talking to you on today. And then we have goosenecks. They're 6-inch and 12-inch goosenecks. And then we have a boundary mic that is omnidirectional and a boundary mic that is directional. Now, when I was saying that we can customize these or that the kits are kind of like automatic, we have arranged these or designed them so that they go into the typical conference rooms. So what we're getting here is complete coverage from a ceiling mic. We can cover 500 square feet. So anything that's going on in there, it's only going to pick up the human that is talking. And so what this is doing, this whole kind of family or kit system does for you is you select the kind of microphone style that is most appealing to your needs in that conference room. And then we supply you with speakers, a mixer, a switch, and then any style of microphone that you like. And then your web conferencing system, the computer in that room, whether that's a room computer, bring your own device type environment, just a USB connection to that RMCR gets you where you're going. So everybody knows how to plug in a USB peripheral into their computer. We do that every day. So we have taken an integrated audio solution and boiled it down to the easiest thing that people do and the most common thing that they do, which is plug a USB connection into their computer when they are in a conference room.
Excellent.
So some of those technologies that help us do that and allow us to do the automatic configuration here are the human voice activity detection, or what we call multi-beam tracking as well. So as you can see in that top example, you're getting a virtual microphone beam on each individual that speaks up. Now, 4 of those are active at any time. So 4 people at once could be talking, and you can hear that clearly. There are examples on our website and on our YouTube channel that demonstrate that. So I encourage you to go look for those. It's called multi-beam technology. It's a little annoying listening to 4 people talk at once, but you know, it is what it is. And then you can close your eyes and hear each person talking distinctly, but it sounds like a cacophony when they're performing that. Auto voice tracking is also part of the RMTT series, but in its drop-down magic box, all of these things just have little web sockets. So you open a web browser. There's no proprietary software at all. And you can just do drop-down menus for different functions and features. In the tabletops, we have a drop-down menu that allows you to select any kind of microphone type you like, whether that's bidirectional or a parabolic toroid pattern, which is like a donut, but it doesn't have a parabolic top. It has full omnis and all the cardioid styles. And then we have high-speed echo cancellation that reacts dynamically to that far end reference. So, unique Yamaha processing technologies are in our microphones themselves. So instead of going to an outside DSP to provide those algorithms for us, we have them in the microphone. Now, if you choose to use a third-party DSP, we allow you also to turn those off. So it's just a really flexible device, a family of products that allow you to utilize the automation in it or to customize it and make your own shapes for those of us that like to do custom audio. A little bit different approach.
So did you say the RMCR allows you to program it via web GUI without very little
Absolutely,
training?
yes. All of these. So here's an example of that in the top right. The quick setup for the RMCR only takes 5 mouse clicks. Literally within 5 minutes, you are configuring your system. It is finding the Dante products within that environment. It is configuring them for you, doing the routing, and then it measures the acoustic environment. It's measuring sound pressure and return. How long does that take to bounce off the wall and come back to me? So it's doing all of that just through a web UI in under 5 minutes. It's pretty amazing.
That's a huge differentiator compared to some of the other DSP companies.
Absolutely, absolutely. So everything that you need with these products come with their own mounting accessories. So the ceiling mount comes with a drop child kit that you put in. The tabletop comes with a mountable a mount that you can fix it to a flat surface table. The wireless access point comes with its own mount. Accessories that don't come with it are under table mounts and rack mounts. Otherwise, everything ships with those products. And then on the control side, you're seeing that on the very bottom, even for our wireless, we give you a RF analyzation tool that the wizard walks you through. It says, hey, this is what's going on in your environment. Here's what we think. The traffic is, the standard median of traffic. And here's what you should do to mitigate anything, if at all, if you need to. So, RF analyzation is something that I spent years working on doing. And in less than 5 minutes, now this little wizard has taken my job and tossed it out the window. Now, I can still tell you about what kind of applications to do, but I am not worried about that because this was a very, very important part and step in wireless design and installation. So used to be, I'd have to send an RF analyzer to somebody. They'd have to send me that back. I mean, it would take a week before we figured out what was going on in that environment. This just happens as a wizard right off the top. It's the first thing that it asks you to do. So it's really cool. I'm not worried about my job in any way, in case you're wondering.
No, that is a unique feature, right? As we know, there's
really
wireless signals flying around the corporate environment.
Well, and nobody that I know is doing that. You have to do an RF analyzation. You have to know all about RF transmission and what to do about it. So we can carve up slots into quarters and halves, and then assign those slots in a different way than other people do, so that we don't get collisions, because collisions in RF mean audio dropout. So just parts of words when you have collisions there. So within these flexible applications, we're looking at probably 60 to 70% of all the conference rooms or all the UC applications out there. We get into training rooms and teaching environments and things like that. Maybe teaching labs that are a little bit different, combine and divides that require a little bit of tweaking. Otherwise, it all looks like this. So you're really just selecting your microphone style. The ceiling mic has such great coverage and nobody has to touch anything. You don't even know that it's there. It just looks like a ceiling tile. So, it is such a great product for people that like a clean look, an aesthetic look in their conference room. The tabletops, however,
can you back up to the ceiling a little bit, Daniel?
Yeah, sure.
I have a question that's always asked of us, right? And also when we're designing these custom rooms is there a general rule of thumb for how many square foot a ceiling tile will cover?
Yeah, at about 10 feet, we're covering about 500 square feet.
Okay.
So that's roughly a 25 by 25 foot square.
Perfect. And then how many ceiling tiles can we add to a system?
Automatic wizardry in the RMCR lets us do 4.
Okay.
And we also limit to 2 output speakers. Now, this is just what we're doing in the automation. So as standalone, you can do anything you want to them because they are flexible. You can use 10 ceiling mics as long as you have the Dante inputs to do that with. But automation, we've kept it to this kind of middle of the road application template so that people can easily do these kind of kits in the most common environments for them.
Okay, interesting. So based on the RMCR platform, we have the ability to go with up to 4 ceiling tile microphones in a room, along with 2 Dante speakers that are
correct,
which we barely touched on yet. But okay, that makes sense.
Well, the PoE speakers I mean, they look great with flat screens, but they don't always make sense if you're in a room with a drop down screen or something like that. The speakers themselves are 44 inches tall. They're 4 inches wide, and they're, is that right? No, they're 2 inches wide and they're 4 inches deep. So 44 by 4 by 2.
Okay.
These things have 170-degree dispersion. So, I mean, you can be almost completely to the side of it and still experience the same sort of audio that somebody standing right in front of it at the optimum distance would be. But these speakers only have a 9 dB variance over about 45 feet, which means you're having that same listening experience if you're pressed, your nose is pressed against the grill as you are 40 feet away. So that's an amazing technology advance too. And why, line arrays, nobody else is doing that except for Yamaha. We introduced them. We have the PoE brand or the application there. Nobody else is using a speaker like that has such great coverage for conference rooms.
Yeah, so, the rooms I've heard them, they sound great.
They are. They're really lovely. They and then you can do other things to them. You can open Dante controller. There's a couple channels that you can route to. You can EQ them through our Provisionaire software and things like that that are outside of Adecia applications as well.
I think one of my favorite features is we're able to remove a piece of equipment, the amp, and just run these speakers straight off of a PoE switch.
That's right, because in the back of the RMCR, we've got analog output and speaker output. So dedicated speaker for powered monitors, powered amps, distributed audio, or both. So we don't limit you to just line arrays or the analog. You can use both. And maybe somebody wants to do the video conferencing output through the ceiling from the far end, but then wants some voice lift maybe through the speakers. And so that way, they're getting some separated audio. You're getting voice support from a presentation style of meeting rather than a collaboration style. So really, really flexible in these environments.
The flexibility is great.
And so within customization, that's what is available to you. Here's some examples of that, Ryan, where we've got line array speakers over here. This one has some distributed audio. In this case, we're using Yamaha amplifiers and DSPs. You can use third-party. We are agnostic with that, but we prefer that you use Yamaha products. Same thing with the switch. That's a mix and match thing. You can choose it. You can use your own switch rather, like Netgear, AV lines are really popular. The important part is what the draw is on these devices, because we have a mix of PoE and PoE plus. So the speakers themselves are PoE plus, the RMCR, PoE plus, all of the microphones, including that RM WAP 8 is 15.
Okay.
Standard PoE. So RMCG, you can use up to 4. Each one covers about 25 feet square. RMTTs, selectable, user interface with it through the web UI. You can choose any of those microphone pickup patterns you see on that screen. Very easy to use.
So, how many of those microphones can we use? The wired
16.
tabletop.
16. So we're lit in that when you're using the RMCR, because we're using the 16 by 16 backbone for Dante on that box. RMW series, the new wireless that just came out. We get the 6-inch, the 12-inch goosenecks, and then we have those pickup patterns there for omni and directional styles. Again, we can do 16 here because those are 16 Dante channels coming out of 2. So each wireless access point can process and handle 8 microphones. So you can have up to 2 of those with one RMCR in any environment. So for a total of 16, and then we don't limit you when you go into any other DSP with these microphones. So really elegant too with the form factor of these. I can maybe you can see that. It's kind of hard to do when I'm on a
We're
call.
just seeing the presentation right now.
Yeah. So they're really slick. All of the base, the form factor of it, the bases are the same size. So the Omni, the directional, and the base of the 6 and 12-inch goosenecks have the exact same footprint, and they all sit together of any style on that RMWCH8 charger. We've also done some updating in how these things subscribe to the wireless access point. It used to be that you'd have to pair each one to the base unit and write a subscription, like you're having your Bluetooth headset or something to some device. This just has one button push activation. There's a green button on the bottom right of that charger tray. You just push it and it does the rest. So not only have we cleaned up the way you program things, just writing subscriptions is just a one button push for these devices.
Nice.
The RMCR, the Magic Box, this is really what allows us to do all the automation. So it's got Bluetooth, XLR inputs, 3 NIC cards, USB bidirectional, and 4 analog in and out ports and speaker outs. Those are mono redundant for anybody that's wondering about that. And those are balanced XLRs into the front. Can be mounted under the table or the rack. In a lot of cases, you're going to want that near a table or at least behind a TV because you might otherwise, your USB connection is what is at issue there. So maybe you're going in. You can definitely use Barco or Immersive or anything like that. Put it behind the TV and go wireless. But that's something to think about when you are doing your designs and setups. Where do I want this RMCR to live because of the USB connection to the computer?
And is it USB 2.0 or 3.0?
It is 2.
Okay.
So that's super standard and goes anywhere.
Yep, much easier to extend 2.0 without.
You can extend it. You can do anything you want with it. It's just super standard USB audio. So down here, I will point this out. The VXL1B 16 Ps and W, which just means black or white, the line arrays, and our switch products are part of the solution. So these are products that have been given to us basically by the Pro line, our professional audio line. And so you can't come to us and buy those directly. But if you're buying an Adecia solution, they are part of the kit that comes with it. So you just say, yeah, I want a switch and speakers, and that is what is part of the kit. Or you can use your own switch and your own speakers, and then there you go. There's just distributed audio or what might already exist in an environment. So that's really the down and dirty of or a good overview of Adecia. We have lots of case studies. If you go to uc.yamaha.com, you can find out all of those and more. And always talk to Ryan here, and he will get you the best service through Yamaha UC with our relationship, which is awesome.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you, Ryan, for this time.
Appreciate the conversation on the Adecia line. So hopefully I said that right again. So
you did it. That was successful.